Hello, everyone. So I'm just going to wait for a while. Hi, Bimseri Tushaka, Leah, hey, Sylvia. Hi, everyone. I don't know if you guys know, I'm by myself today. Hi, everyone. Time to get mad, I see. Yeah, kind of. Is everything okay? It is okay. And it's always going to be okay because we always got BTS's back. But yeah, something happened. Celine, um, she said, "Am I dreaming a Veracity live on a Monday?" Yes, I said on Friday that I was going to go live by myself Mondays and Wednesdays just to talk about specific things. So no news like on Fridays. On Fridays is going to be the same as always with my sister and with the news and everything. But I've realized that on Fridays, I cannot always talk about specific things because it would be like too long and too late. So I'm on my own today. Okay, so I see that a lot of people don't know what happened. So I'm going to show you. I prepare like a little presentation of what exactly happened and also my thoughts on this. Okay, so what's going on basically is BTS has been mentioned on a Times article. Do you guys have any idea about this? It is related to New Jeans and Minhy Jin. Yes. Okay, no. No, yes, no. Okay. So I feel like half of you guys know what happened and the other half doesn't know. For no reason at all. Yes, exactly. Okay, so maybe I should just start to explain what happened. I was just waiting for people to join the live. Are you on Twitter? Not right now. I mean, I have my account, but I don't use it. Okay. So if you guys don't know, don't worry. I'm going to explain everything. We're going to talk about everything that happened. Okay. So BTS is in the middle of everything once again. Um Wait a second. I think it's this is broken. Let me see very quickly if everything's okay. Mm, yeah, I think everything's okay. Okay, so let me explain. So, what happened basically is that BTS, and more specifically, Yoongi, was mentioned in the middle of a drama that is so disgusting that they were even mentioned because the context puts them in a really horrible, horrible place. They don't deserve to be in this conversation at all, especially in the way that they were included. So we are going to talk about a little about the entire situation, but mostly we're going to focus on BTS as always. But we need some context, so I'm going to explain a little. And also, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. So if I get some things like if I am not explaining things in the best way possible, I'm sorry because I am just a person who read the news. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. I don't know exactly all these terms. Okay, so first, some context. We're going to talk about a Times article, a Times Magazine article. But because we're going to talk about that and that article is so biased, I use this other CNN article just to explain the context, the basic context. Okay, so basically what happened, it says here on CNN, court rules against embattled K-pop band days before headline show. It says a South Korean court has ruled against K-pop band New Jeans in its long-running dispute with record label Adore, upholding an injunction that temporarily prohibits the group from carrying out independent musical or commercial activities. At a Friday hearing, the Seoul Central District Court said the band's attempt to rename itself and break away from Adore could seriously damage the label's reputation, according to court documents. So, in other words, what basically happened is that we kind of know, because it's BTS's label, we kind of know that New Jeans is fighting with Adore, which is part of Hype. And New Jeans said that they were going to do things on their own. They have this new name. They're going to perform on their own, release their music on their own without a door. They unilaterally broke their contract, which basically means they are the ones saying, we are breaking the contract um, with or without your approval. So they started rebranding as NJC. And what Hype said, Hype issued an injunction basically asking New Jeans to stop performing on their own because the that affects Hype and the entire case. Um, and in the end, Hype won the injunction. This was a couple of days ago. So the article continues. The injunction is effective immediately, with a lawsuit filed by Adore set to be heard in full on April 3rd. So this is just an injunction. This is not the entire case. This is not the main case. The main case is going to take probably years and it's going to start in April. Okay, so it says the band said it respects the court's ruling, but plans to challenge the decision by raising additional legal issues and submitting further supporting evidence ahead of the next hearing. Although temporary, the injunction is quite significant as it signifies that the band's legal case is either extremely weak or virtually non existent, according to Sang Rokko, a lawyer at South Korea's law firm Pale. Okay, so summary, in summary, New Jeans proclaims that Hype and Adore that there was manipulation, deliberate miscommunications, workplace harassment, all of these accusations. And in the injunction, the proof that they showed it was not enough. So Hype won the injunction, not the actual case. The actual case has not started yet. So in summary, all the group's claims were rejected. Adore's injunction application was accepted, so now New Jeans cannot perform by themselves. They had to work with Adore. And the main case of the contract on the contract validity will start in April. So that is the overall context, the general context. We're not going to get really in detail because this is not really about them. This is just the context that we need to understand. So, hours after the injunction, this article is dropped. This is the actual article that I wanted to talk about because this article includes BTS. They mentioned BTS and specifically they mentioned Suga. So I don't want to talk about this group's case because this channel, you know, guys, that this channel is not about anyone else that is not BTS. But sometimes BTS is in the middle of these issues that they have nothing to do with them. Okay, so I see in the comments a lot of opinions, and it's okay that you guys have opinions, but let's focus on BTS. Someone said let's focus on BTS, and let's do that. Yes, so once again, if you guys don't know, just for context, Hype and Adore specifically won an injunction that says that New Jeans cannot perform on their own. That's it. Like, that's the story. That should be the story. And somehow, BTS is in the middle of everything again. Again. So, you can think whatever you think about that case. I don't care. Like, it's okay to have some context about it, but we're going to focus on BTS. Okay, so this article was released by Times Magazine. This is a reporter called Chad de Guzman. And the article is titled Why K-pop group New Jeans, or NJC, is brazenly taking on an industry giant. So this article has a very specific point of view. This is not, and I think it would, even the author would agree. This is not just reporting the situation. Like, for example, this article by CNN, they are just reporting what happened. They are not mentioning BTS because BTS has nothing to do with this. Absolutely nothing. Their label Big Hit is not Adore. So why would they even mention BTS? Maybe to say the relevance of Hype, but that's it. Why mention BTS even more? No. So CNN, this is just reporting the actual news. This article is different. This article has direct quotes by New Jeans, and that's okay and all, but BTS is included in the middle of everything for no reason. So I did a little summary of the article just so you can understand how in the middle of everything BTS is. So the first two paragraphs are just a sentimental opening paragraph. Sentimental for New Jeans. So you can have an idea of how the entire article is going to be. Then paragraph 3 is accusations of unfair treatment, discrimination, and workplace harassment against BTS's label. This is the first mention of BTS because they say that Hype is BTS's label. They have to include this in the paragraph where they are talking about discrimination and unfair treatment and workplace harassment. They have to mention BTS. They did it. So they just mention all of this, but they give no examples. Then on paragraph 4, they talk about New Jeans' new name and their performance comeback. Paragraph 5 is about all the achievements that New Jeans has received. Paragraph 6 is about the injunction and New Jeans' plan to challenge the court's decision. And then paragraph 7 is really, in my opinion, what I believe, the transition to the real story. Because this story is not really about the reporting of a case. This is not just about the case. This is about someone specifically and how they are the victims of something. And it's okay if you want to do that. If you want to do that, that's fine. I don't care. But the fact that they are mentioning BTS, putting BTS in the middle of everything, that is what I don't like. So it says, paragraph 7, In an exclusive statement to Time, the five said they were disappointed in the court's decision, but added that they didn't expect the issues in the K pop industry to change overnight. So, the first part here in an exclusive statement to Time um, was a little weird for some people because, like I said, this was this article was released just hours after the injunction. So, in just hours, Times Magazine talked to New Jeans, wrote everything. These are 25 paragraphs. So, in just a couple of hours, they talked to New Jeans, they received an email, they wrote every single thing, like 25 paragraphs. It's very weird to think that they did not prepare this before. However, that is just my personal opinion. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying that it's very weird, weird that in just a couple of hours, this 25 paragraph article was released in support of New Jeans, which again, do that. Like, I don't care. You can do that. Just don't mention BTS. BTS has nothing to do with this. Fatima Sara says it's either sloppily written or it was prepared beforehand. That is your opinion, and I respect it. I'm just going to say, I don't think this was sloppily written. I don't think that. So, yeah. Paragraph 8 is a quote that opens the actual theme. It says, compared to everything we've been through so far, this is just another step in our journey, they said. Maybe this is just the current reality in Korea, but that's exactly why we believe change and growth are necessary. It almost feels like Korea wants to turn us into revolutionaries. So this is the real story. The story is not like the CNN story. This CNN story is just reporting of the situation. This story by Times Magazine, is New Jeans being revolutionaries. And like I said, do whatever you want. Just not mention BTS. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so paragraph 9 is the most disgusting part for me. In my opinion, this is my personal analysis. Paragraph 9 is about setting the narrative of who is the victim and who are the perpetrators. This paragraph says, the past year has been rough for K-pop. On top of weak worldwide sales, the New Jeans controversy, while the most prominent, was far from the only scandal rocking the South Korean entertainment industry. From BTS member Suga's drink driving incident to SM Entertainment's firing of former NCT member Taeil after the male idol faced charges of sexual assault. So this is what I just read is what is said. But this is how I interpret this. They are clearly showing that the New Jeans controversy, they say, is the most prominent, which is crazy because look at these other bad idols doing weird things, doing bad things. Who are the perpetrators? Who are the bad guys in the K-pop industry? BTS's member Suga and NCT member Taeil, which putting them in the same sentence is disgusting because, first of all, I refuse to say drink driving incident because he was not driving anything. He was riding a scooter, which is crazy. And to include that, not even accident, she just fell from his scooter. To include that with this horrible, horrible case of sexual assault by NCT member Taeil is disgusting. I don't know if you guys know the severity of Taeil's case. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but whatever. Taeil's case is horrible because SM has backed up, they have supported their idols with sexual assault in the past, with sexual assault accusations in the past. They have. And actually, when it comes to Taeil, SM has supported Taeil, I believe, for an entire year. They were quiet with all of these allegations. They knew the allegations for an entire year and they defended him for an entire year in private. Now, when the case is so big that it's so disgusting and obvious, Now is when they decide to let him go. So if they are letting him go now, when in the past they have supported members with sexual assault allegations, this means that Tail's case is so undeniably disgusting because SM does not abandon their members with sexual assault accusations. That is how disgusting this case is. And to link him to Suga's case is disgusting because it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Yes, Marikuta Dunka. Tail committed a sin. Suga fell out of a scooter. Two things are connected. Yes, I don't understand how those two things are connected. Especially in a sentence which is basically saying that the most prominent controversy in the K-pop industry right now is New Jeans, when these other two guys are doing horrible things. It's disgusting to even mention Suga's name in the same sentence as these other men. I hate it. So this is paragraph 9, the second mention of BTS. Because like I said, first they say they mention BTS's label. They mention Hive as BTS's label, which I guess it's okay, but it's still kind of weird because it's not just BTS's label. Like it's a big label with a lot of it's a big company with a lot of sub labels. Technically, it's not BTS's label. Adore that has nothing to do with BTS. BTS's label is Big Hit. So I guess you can say BTS company, but still, I believe it's kind of a reach. As CNN, no mention of BTS because it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Is I mean, I guess you can mention it because they are part of Hype, but just say that. Why even include Why even include BTS Sugar? Like, okay, so for everyone who just joined the live, BTS and specifically Suga was mentioned in this article by this entire controversy thing by New Jeans and Adore for no reason. They are including him, Suga, and BTS for no reason. So if Justin Bieber under Hype, they'll say it's Justin Bieber's label. Exactly. Like this has nothing to do with Hype. And actually, the court decision and everything, the injunction, is not by Hype, it's by Adore, which is a very specific label that has nothing to do with BTS. But anyways, that's paragraph 9. Like I said, there's 25 paragraphs, and I'm not going to explain everything, but just so you have an idea of this is what sets the tone for the rest of the story. The victims and the perpetrator, like the victims and the ones who are obviously not victims, but also not receiving enough prominence. When it's crazy because we know how many articles against Suga were released. So part 10 is in defense of Min Hee Jin. As you can see here, the difference of they write a little bit of Adore's perspective in blue, but the one in green is the perspective of Min Hee Jin. It's very specific. Like they are trying to send a message, in my opinion. It's a little extremely biased, in my opinion, in my analysis of the article. Okay, so paragraph 11 is about idle suicides and grueling working conditions because they always have to mention that. Paragraph 12 is examples of mistreatment by New Jeans. You can pause and read exactly every single example of mistreatment that New Jeans has accused Hive and Adore. Like I said, I'm not going to focus so much on that. Paragraph 13 is about the National Assembly and workplace harassment. Because one of the members of New Jeans went there and then the fans had some kind of petition and the petition was rejected. So once again, setting a very specific point of view that These are the victims. Their petitions are getting rejected, etc. Paragraph 14, it says, since our debut, we have faced so many obstacles and interference from Hive, and only now we are finally able to speak about it. So once again, the good people and the bad people. Paragraph 15 is a member breaks into tears. Paragraph 16 is about how the actual hearing may take years, and if New Jeans wins, agencies lose their investments. Paragraph 17 is about how New Jeans just wants to break free. So this is a very biased article, which once again, do whatever you want. Like I don't care. Like it's fine. I mean, it's not really fine. It's just that I wouldn't even talk about this if BTS was not mentioned. Paragraph 18, it says New Jeans will win, and if not, they will lose a lot of money. So once again, the victims and the enemies, like it's the industry. Paragraph 19, it says Adore regrets the escalation of this matter to court. That's the only point of view they included from Adore in one entire paragraph. And then paragraph 20, it says New Jeans is looking for a new agency for help slash communication. Paragraph 21 is about the comeback. 22 is about the excitement for their future craft as they fight for independence and creative freedom. Paragraph 23 is a quote which says, this made them grow and meet people. Paragraph 24 is an important experience for us. It's another quote. And paragraph 25 is how proud they are of themselves. Which again, if you want to tell their story, that's completely fine. I'm just saying that this has been a conversation because of not only the mention of BTS, the mention of Suga specifically, and the timing of everything. So once again, like I said, this article was released only hours after the injunction, which is a little weird to some people because they had statements, a lot of statements by New Jeans. And it's about how they lost and everything, how disappointed they are. How fast did they get those? That's my question. And also, in only a couple of hours, they wrote 25 paragraphs. So, in my opinion, one theory can be that this was prepared. Like they already had an article prepared. In my opinion, maybe there were two articles prepared in advance, probably days even. Do you remember when I made my video about BTS versus award shows, attendance award shows? That day of the VMAs, BTS won Group of the Year. And a lot of articles were released about how this other group won. And it was crazy because the TV said something like the winner is of Group of the Year is BTS, and all these articles were released of this other group won. It was a crazy day. And that's why I made the video. One of the reasons why I made that video of BTS versus attendance award shows. And what I said in that video is that what usually happens is that magazines and newspapers and all of these news kind of things, they prepare different articles. So they prepare, for example, one that this group won. They have an article that BTS won, and they have an article that, for example, Silk Sonic won. And once the announcer is, and once the winner is announced, they release the correct one. However, one of them apparently announced it incorrectly first, and then everyone followed, and everyone was like, okay, which was kind of funny, but also weird. It was a weird day. So it's not uncommon for publications to prepare different scenarios, different articles. So you may infer is the word? I don't know. You may think that Times Magazine already had prepared um, an interview, or New Jeans even already had a statement prepared if they won or if they lost. Whether they win or lose, they already had their statements. And Times Magazine, maybe they got the response for both just in case, and they prepared two articles, just like it's so common in the industry. Like people prepare many articles. This is common. So maybe that's why they prepare this article so fast. What are you guys saying? Guys, we're focusing on this and not on anything else. So only on this. Okay. So this is just an observation that I had. Like it's not uncommon for magazines or news articles to prepare multiple versions of the same article and then release one once the case is um once one party wins or the other party wins. Like it's common. Okay, so next. So why do you guys think BTS was mentioned at all? Because this is a biased article, or because of the relevance of BTS, because of clickbait? Like I've seen a lot of people saying because BTS's name, like because of it's clickbait, it's clickable. A or B? A is because this is a biased article, or B because of the relevance, BTS's relevance. Option C, both. Okay. But most likely biased because they sell papers. Both. Okay. So here's what I think. I think the same as a lot of you guys. I think it's because of both reasons. Um, this is just my analysis. I'm not claiming anything. This is just what I noticed. In my personal opinion, the article and the author are very biased. From what I've read, this is a very, very biased article. However, that is just my interpretation of it, my opinion. I'm not claiming anything. But the fact that they included BTS, I also believe it's because of their relevance, because it's easy to click, because now we are talking about it, because now I am talking about it. When I don't talk about this case at all, I talked about it one time when BTS was mentioned. That's the only thing. That's the only time. And now again. So I believe it's because of both. So let me explain something that I don't know if you guys know, but I went to university to study journalism. And I met a lot of journalists. And I've noticed something about this Times article. The paragraph where BTS is mentioned, in my opinion, is what I recognize as the nut graph. The nut graph is basically the bigger context paragraph. And BTS is mentioned in that paragraph, in my opinion. This. This is the nut graph, which is basically, it's called nut graph because it's in a nutshell, like in the bigger context of everything. So, supposedly the nut graph is the bigger context. But I remember when I was trying to learn about the nut graph and identifying a nut graph, I had a little trouble because I was looking always for what it is, for the bigger context. What is the paragraph that explains the in the nutshell? Like this is the bigger context. And I had some trouble with it. So some journalists and also journalism professors told me a kind of like trick to identify the nut graph. Why should anyone care? That's the question. So if BTS is included in the nut graph, it's because why should anyone care about this entire case? because BTS is mentioned, because BTS is involved. That is very interesting to me that they were included specifically in this paragraph. Um, so it's not just about the bigger context. It's about why should an audience care? Why should anyone care? BTS is probably mentioned because the author doesn't want to lose the audience's attention. He's asking, here's why you should care. Maybe you don't care about this case, but here's why you should care. This is why this story is timely. This is why this story is bigger than you think. Like, even if you don't know the story, you know this. The response to all of this is always BTS, in my opinion, in my interpretation. So, why should anyone care? Because BTS is involved. Don't lose the audience's attention. Mention BTS. Here's why you should care: because of BTS involvement. Why this story is timely? Because of BTS. Why is this story bigger than you think? Because of BTS. Even if you don't know the story, even if you don't know the case, even if you don't know anything, you know BTS. So BTS has to be mentioned. And this is very disappointing because, in my opinion, this means that BTS will always be mentioned. Why should anyone care about anything? If BTS is mentioned, it takes the story to another level. So let me give you some examples. Saying BTS or BTS's label, a lot of you guys said it in the comments, they are more searchable, it's more sensational, it's more quote unquote important than the article itself. We have many, many examples. We have this example that I just explained, but let's say this other example, for example, this is also Times Magazine, the one in the middle. This is an article about Stray Kids' new sound, how they have like this entire thing um, based on their sound or whatever. But what do they have to mention? They have to compare it to something else. They have to compare it to someone else. And they wrote, yet instead of shifting gears to pander to expectations for Korean boy groups, Stray Kids embrace their distinct sound. And they linked here in red, it says Korean boy groups. They link this article by BTS. So they are basically saying, instead of shifting gears to pander to expectations for Korean boy groups like BTS, Stray Kids did this other thing. This is why it's important. Once again, why should you care about Stray Kids? Because of BTS. This is just my personal opinion, how I understand it. Even if the article is about someone else's success, why would anyone care about someone else's success? Because BTS is the biggest, because BTS will always be mentioned. So another example, as you guys know, Chicago Tribune, I explained this on my second video, BTS versus boy bands coming back. There's this article by the Chicago Tribune which says the Jonas Brothers are back with happiness begins just in time to show the BTSs of the world how it's really done. So once again, the news of this story is the Jonas Brothers are back. But why should you care? Again, why should anyone care? Because of BTS. So they have to include BTS. They have to. And this is going to keep happening, especially when BTS comes back. I feel like we're going to see this a lot more. A lot more. Because the NAT graph, when I try learning it, this is more personal. When I try learning the paragraph at university, the NAT graph at university, I had a little trouble because I was trying to look for what I was taught, the bigger context. But it's not just the bigger context. It's why should anyone care? And the response in this group cases, and when it comes to groups, when it comes to K-pop, boy bands, industry, all of that, the response is always going to be BTS. So, by the way, is the volume okay? I haven't checked it. Please say yes if the volume is okay. Is it sort of a backhanded compliment? I don't know if backhanded is just almost a necessity that they have to mention the bigger context. Yes, okay, perfect. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so I'll continue. These articles are never going to stop. Their name is the most known. They're always going to attach their name to as much articles as they can. They do this to every successful celebrity, nothing new. Yes, that is basically the point that I was trying to explain because I believe this is way bigger than just they hate BTS. Sometimes it's not just that they hate BTS. Of course, it's more likable, it's more likely that journalists are going to include BTS in a negative light they when they hate BTS. But sometimes it's not just that. Sometimes people don't even know about BTS. They just know that they are the biggest. So why should an audience care? Because BTS is connected somehow. And if they are not actually connected, which we know they are not, just try connecting them somehow. Because I remember when I was trying to write some articles, um, let's say about a person, let's say, or about my dog. um, I'm going to write a profile on my dog, on Bora dog, and I'm going to write about his journey and how he joined the family or whatever. I will present that, and journalists will tell me, you need, like, why would I care? Why would I care about your Bora dog? Like, why would I care? You have to write about something bigger, which in the case of Bora dog is about, I don't know, like dogs who are abandoned or whatever. Like something bigger, something more important, something more sensationalist, something more clickable. It's not just about the story. You have to find something interesting, more a little controversial sometimes, something bigger. Mention pit bulls. Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah, like something that is easy to search, easy to find, easy to click, easy to keep the audience's attention. Eye catching, exactly. And what is eye catching when it comes to articles related to any group, any K pop act? The eye catching group is BTS. So I feel like they're always going to be mentioned. But they can easily put BTS in a positive light if they want clicks. Yes, that's the other thing. But because they're doing a profile, for example, this one in the middle, I believe this is an actual profile. So they are working with the group. They're working with Stray Kids. They're taking pictures. They're selling the magazine. So they have to put their group, Stray Kids, in the most positive light ever. Everyone else can be whatever. So in this case, BTS, even though they are included here, they don't care about the reputation of BTS because the buyers are not necessarily BTS fans. They are buying for Stray Kids. And in the case of the New Jeans article, it's very interesting because at least with the Stray Kids article, it's an obvious partnership. So I understand maybe I don't really, but I kind of understand why they would celebrate Stray Kids and say that BTS are bad, but not in the case of the New Jeans article because this is supposedly not an feature article. Like this article is not in a magazine cover. This is not um, a selling issue with New Jeans in the cover and a specific, like a special, exclusive New Jeans pictures. No, this is supposed to be an unbiased article. Kind of, in my opinion, this is supposed to be like that. They are supposed to be explaining the news of the injunction, just like the CNN article, but that's not what they're doing. Okay, so like I said, um, Times Magazine has worked with with BTS many times, and something that I've noticed is that when there's money involved, for example, in these issues, BTS works with Times Magazine. They have photographers that work for Times Magazine to specifically be part of the magazine. And Times Magazine wants to sell this to fans and to K-pop fans. So they are working with BTS and they're trying to make BTS look as good as possible. The same thing with Stray Kids. They're selling an issue of Stray Kids, so they're trying to paint Stray Kids in the best light possible. So they're trying to do the same thing with BTS in these particular covers and stories. So, in my opinion, when there's money involved, profiles, opinion pieces, analysis are more likely to be positive. So, okay, we can understand Times Magazine is trying to sell their magazine covers to fans. So they're going to talk about BTS in a positive light. However, like I've mentioned, New Jeans article is not like this. Here we all know as fans that Times Magazine is doing this specifically to sell. So we know that they are explaining BTS's point of view of everything. Here it's not exactly like that. I feel like here it's a little bit hidden. So here it's not clear if there is money involved. Apparently it's not because it's not mentioned anywhere, but it's a question that I have. Okay, so there is an exception to this, not rule, but to this thing that I've seen happen a lot of times. So when there's money involved, profiles, opinion pieces, analysis, and are more likely to be positive unless the journalist or the publication has the philosophy that criticizing the subject being covered makes you more believable, even when you have to embellish it or fake it. So, do you guys remember what happened with BTS and the Hollywood Reporter? Does anyone remember? This was from 2019, I believe. Yes, Chrissy remembers. SM? No, no, yes. Okay, so we can clearly see, I'm going to explain it a little. We can clearly see when the magazine is working with the artist and when they are supposedly not working with the artist. So, in the case of these Time magazine articles, it is very clear that BTS is working with Times magazine. They are trying to sell their covers. Like it's pretty obvious. We all know it. However, in some other cases, it's not so obvious. We don't really know. Apparently, it's not. But yeah. Okay, so one of these articles was for the Hollywood Reporter. BTS went to have an exclusive photo shoot with the Hollywood Reporter, and they prepared this entire article titled Billion Dollar Boy Band. And they had like an exclusive interview and exclusive pictures. They were videos, actually very popular videos. Some of those videos from this interview are viral. Like they're very funny because BTS are having fun with the questions and everything. Except the Hollywood Reporter does not exactly work like Times Magazine. Times Magazine, when they had BTS on their cover, they would just write good things about BTS, good, positive things. But the Hollywood Reporter didn't exactly do that. The Hollywood Reporter, more times than not, they tend to be critical of everyone just so they can be like a little edgy. Like the Hollywood Reporter is a little edgy and they are negative. That's what I kind of noticed. I don't know if you guys know about Pitchfork is another one. So for example, let's say an album. Different critics give that album, a certain album, 7, 7, 8, 8, 7, 8. The Hollywood Reporter, I'm sorry, Pitchfork would give like a 5 or a 4 just so they can be different. Like they always go against everything. So the Hollywood Reporter sometimes does that. Yes, so they are usually sensationalist in nature. Yes. So they, in my opinion, they have this philosophy of criticizing the subject being covered makes you more believable, even when you have to embellish it or fake it. Again, this is not a rule, this is just my personal experience and point of view. So, what happened with BTS and the Hollywood Reporter? So, oh, Microcosmos, thank you. Are you in spring break too? I don't study anymore, so not really. Is everyone studying right now or at work? They're trying to be an industry magazine, a bit a bit jaded. Wait, is that why everyone on Twitter hates on Pitchfork whenever they review their faves album? Yes, because usually the industry says, let's say an album is a 7, but Pitchfork always gives it like a 4 or a 5. They have their preferences, but yeah. Sadly, yes, I'm retired, studying, at work. Well, if you're on spring break, good spring break. Have a good spring break. Both work and school. Doing chores. Did they like anything? They do like some things, but I believe that every single time that I've noticed Pitchfork going viral for something, it's because of something negative. Something so crazily negative that they go like their article becomes popular or their review becomes popular because it's so negative. So they love, I guess they love relying on that, on their negative reviews. The Hollywood Reporter is not exactly like that, but it's kind of like that. Like there are a lot of negative reviews. So let me give you an example with BTS. This is not the actual article. This is not this. This is another article that the Hollywood Reporter gave to. This is a review to BTS's Map of the Soul persona. The review is okay if they don't like it, like whatever. But the review has very specific words that are just, I don't like them. First, they called Map of the Soul persona impersonal and manufactured. And once again, they're going to rely on this manufactured thing a lot because BTS are a K-pop boy band, because the K-pop boy band is horrible and it's a machine and all of that. So of course they have to be manufactured. So even though like they cannot just talk how they don't like the music, it's about how manufactured it is. They said that it was the BTS are classically packaged. They say that this is their sixth EP or mini album, whatever that is. You see the tone, like the tone is very negative, always, always. They say that BTS are a product of Big Hit's sausage mill. I find this very disgusting. Like, it's not enough for them to call them manufactured. They have to find these specific adjectives, words that are nasty. They have to insult somehow. Um, they said that the entire BTS universe and their theories and all of that are Reddit bait. They say that it says the band's dime store aphorisms tap into a broader empire of pop psychology. Dime store, again, it says like a fast food offering. They say that, what is it? Preciousness. Buying into anything, like believing all of these theories that fans have of the album is a mistake. And that It's not even good for a festival. It's best to have remember everything by next year. It's so demeaning. Yes. Like that. That is the Hollywood Reporter's review of Map of the Soul Persona. So this is before the actual interview with BTS. This is again not just for BTS. They review a lot of albums like this. It's very negative. It's very like they have to have adjectives that are negative and demeaning. And this is what gets them attention. It's not enough to say that they didn't like the album or give it a low review. No, they have to say, they have to call them manufactured and sausage meal and fast food and all of these weird, disgusting things. This article doesn't even make sense. It really doesn't. It's just, I feel like sometimes these articles are written by people who are very critically online Twitter debate people. It's weird. Like, I don't like it. Reeks of insecurity? Yes. I feel like they're purposefully going out of their way to find these very unique adjectives to try to diminish BTS as much as possible. Because it's not enough to call them manufactured once. They have to call them sausage meal and mistakes and fast food offering and all of this. They just be saying anything. Yes. They are trolls living a sad life. I genuinely believe that these are professional trolls because to write all of this is crazy. Like just say you don't like the song because of whatever. Like don't come up with these weird sentences. It's very specific and weird. They're the biggest trolls. Yes. Okay, so this is before the Hollywood article, the Hollywood Reporter article with BTS. Um, so who wrote this article about BTS for the Hollywood Reporter? Seth Abramovich. Who is Seth Abramovich? This is a quote unquote journalist that was hired by the Hollywood Reporter knowing that this person was fired for using the N word in a review for a Kanye West album. They, knowing all of this was on the news. Actually, I found a lot of articles by the way he was fired because of this, allegedly, according to Reuters. It says right here. Um, so they found this person, the Hollywood Reporter, found this person who was fired for using a racial slur. So they said, we want him. So they hired him. And they didn't only hire him, they also chose him to interview BTS, to make BTS's article. They chose this person who was fired for using a racial slur to interview BTS, a South Korean boy band. Like, are you crazy? But anyways, that is what the Hollywood Reporter decided to do. Yes, and they gave him an artist for an Asian artist. And they gave him an interview for an Asian artist. Exactly. So, what did this person write about BTS? You can guess how bad this went. So, the beginning of the article starts with, this is my article actually. This article is not about BTS. It's about me, Seth, how I, the journalist, met a group that I don't know. This is my moment. This is my article. um, they had one job to do. Exactly. What could possibly go wrong? So this is the beginning of the article. It says the restaurant is called Dotgogi, which means either sesame meat or aged pork, depending on which online translator I consult. This is the very beginning of the article. He doesn't have a translator, and he doesn't care to know really like the actual translation of the restaurant where he's eating at that moment. So after that, um, it says 48 hours later, I'm on Asiana Airlines flight from Los Angeles to Seoul, the only 47-year-old man on the plane with a pile of BTS books on his lap, which I found very interesting because he had to mention that he's a 47-year-old man. He's the only one with a pile of BTS books on his lap. When I think not even an army would have a pile of BTS books on their lap, like that was an interesting thing. It's so obvious that you are the only one. I don't know, like it was a weird thing. Hola Marcos, estoy trabajando con el live de fondo, pero me quedé celoso por él que te preguntó de Spring Break. Saludos a Bora Sisters. She's missed. Gracias Marcos. Le voy a decir a mi hermana. Thank you everyone. Thank you Marcos. He's so YN core. Yes. Like this is Seth's article, guys. This is not BTS's article. This is about Seth and how he doesn't know this boy band he's interviewing. He sounds like he's writing Wattpad. Yeah, kind of, because I actually didn't include the entire article. I just included like some important paragraphs, but it is very weird how he put himself in the middle of everything. And it's everything is explained from um first person. Like I am at this restaurant and I'm learning about BTS, and I'm at the airplane and I'm learning about them and whatever, and I don't know them. It is very weird. But anyways, it's not just about Seth. It's also about the fact that he doesn't know them, guys. He doesn't know them. He wants to make that very clear. I don't know these people. I don't know these 7 Korean guys. I don't know them. He wrote, over a 13-hour trans-Pacific journey, here's what I learned. That is where he starts everything. Um, he starts explaining what he learned on his flight. That's all the background he has on BTS. He's just learning about them on the way of meeting them. So there are a couple of there is misinformation in the article. One example is he calls Ban Shi-hyuk South Korean music mogul, and he puts him in a place of like this is like a big person who created BTS. When we know that not really, like Ban Shi-hyuk is not South Korean music mogul. Like he's not. He was a producer who made like a couple of medium slash kind of big songs, but he was not a Korean music mogul. His company was going to bankruptcy. The usual mastermind, blah blah. Yeah. So he got that wrong. That's one thing. The other thing that got my attention was that he called Big Hit Entertainment Factory, which is very weird. You can call Big Hit Entertainment a label or a company, but a factory, I don't like this. Like a factory producing people, like it's weird. Odd choice of words, yes. Um, Another wrong thing he got was the band's maknae, a K-pop term for the baby of the group. Again, wrong. Maknae is not a K-pop term. Maknae is a term that applies to Korean society in general, like in families, there is a maknae, not just in K-pop groups. This is not a K-pop term. It's Korean, yeah. They only produce 2 groups. Exactly. Like this is not a mogul, like be for real. That was incorrect. And this article is up and it's not corrected or anything. This article, I took these screenshots yesterday and it's been years. They're not going to change it, even though it's clearly wrong. Maknae is not a term, a K-pop term for the baby of the group. Man Shi-hyuk was not a South Korean music mogul when he created BTS. He was not. It's like watching anime and calling senpai an anime terminology. Yeah. Is it still up? Yes. And it's still up with all of this misinformation. I took these screenshots yesterday. Oh, yes, the 22 years old baby. Yeah. And also, that's another interesting thing. He had to include the word baby, not even, let's say, a K pop term for the youngest in the group. Okay, so he got the K pop term wrong. He still had to include the baby part. Really, really weird. And then he talked about um the dark side of K-pop, as always. Like every single interview, every single article about K-pop, whether it is, even if it's extremely positive, they have to mention, but there is a dark side to K-pop. Such a repetitive thing. And I really hate, personally, when they include like the suicides, because at least if you're going to mention that, give some context, give some um explanation of why you're including them, and not just like, yeah, a lot of people actually themselves. That's disgusting, just to show the dark side of K-pop. At least explain their stories correctly. At least, I don't know. It's very insensitive in my opinion. Is disrespectful to the ones who die. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. It, like, in the middle of everything. And also this example is specifically kind of like it doesn't fit here in the on the dark side of K-pop. There was other context in this specific case. But no, he had to include it because the dark side of K-pop, for shock value. Definitely. Without context, it seems like it is related to the main topic. Yeah, but it's not. It's This entire article is just a very, very um lazy and badly explained biography of BTS, kind of. But the person who is writing the biography doesn't know anything about them and gets everything wrong. Mentioning it like a fun fact. Exactly, exactly. It's not like anyone would mention America's Dr. G problem while writing about Ariana. Exactly. That's the other thing, that they never do that um, with Western artists, but they have to mention it with BTS and with K-pop artists and stuff. This is giving Orientalism. Yeah, definitely. Like, even I mentioned it earlier. This Stray Kids article by Times Magazine, they have to say that Korean boy groups pander to expectations, and they shift gears to pander for expectations, and they link BTS. Like, they have no control over their music. Like, it's a machine. They are not real people. Exactly, every entertainment industry has a dark side. Exactly. And we can totally talk about it. It's just the fact that they mention it so, like, yeah, and this happened too, and whatever. And once again, I don't know if everyone was here when I was explaining the nut graph, which is, why should anyone care? Why should anyone care? In the case of other K pop groups, they are always going to mention BTS. They're going to manage to somehow include BTS, because what is the bigger context? Why should anyone care? Because BTS is linked somehow. BTS is linked to New Jeans and Stray Kids, and that's why you should care. In the case of BTS's um, article, why should you care? Because K-pop is horrible. That is a nut graph. So let me see. So once again, like I said, criticizing the subject being covered makes you more believable, even when you have to embellish it or fake it. Of course, not every single publication thinks like this, but the Hollywood Reporter, in my opinion, for what I've noticed, and specifically when it comes to this article for BTS about BTS, um, they think this. Like criticizing them a little makes them more respectable. It's how you were saying about Bora Dog and abandoned puppies. Exactly. Like they have to include something somehow. Even though the story is not about abandoned puppies. I just want to explain Bora Dog's story, but no. That's what this is my experience with a lot of journalists. Like they right out say it. Like you have to include something that quote unquote matters because your story is not enough. I wonder if BTS read this. I do wonder that because it is very, very weird. Why are those magazine interviews not recorded? What kind of questions did he really ask BTS? Yeah, and I just don't understand why. Like, even if you want to be like or edgy and stuff, like the Hollywood Reporter wants to be, why choose this person with this background? He was fired, and still they decide to not only hire him, which I hate it, but do whatever you want. But don't make him write the interviews and write the articles for an artist, an international artist, a foreign artist like BTS. I don't think Big Kid knew. Probably the magazine did not reveal his past. Definitely, I believe that, like I mentioned, BTS has made a lot of these type of articles. They take pictures for the cover, and it's like a special edition of the article. And they take the pictures and everything, and they have usually there's like these are good articles because they want to sell their magazines to fans and stuff. So they want to write like positive things about BTS or any artist that is on their cover. But when it comes to the Hollywood Reporter, they don't work like Times Magazine. They don't work like these other magazines. They are going to be negative and edgy or whatever. Like they that's how they get the reputation. Okay, so um about this, I have one specific example of why I think this with BTS will never stop. And it's an example that I've seen personally. And it's very, very interesting because it tells me that no matter how big BTS gets or how clean BTS are, the point of view, the philosophy from certain journalists, they will always, they have to write something negative. They have to do it. Let me give you an example, personal example that I've seen personally. I met this one journalist. This is like an old, like senior journalist. I'm talking more than like he's older than 70 years old. And he had this one band, rock band. This is just a stock photo, but just so you have an idea. Um, he had this favorite band of his, and it's actually a pretty well known band. And he was he is like a super fan. He has like one single tattoo, and that one single tattoo is of the band. He had connections. He had like a special connection to his daughter because of this band. He loved this band. And he got the privilege to attend the last concert of that band with their actual members. Because I believe they have performed together since, but not with all the members. And he had the privilege to go to that one last concert, and he was going to write an article about it. And when I read the article, I noticed that even though this journalist was the biggest fan, he has one tattoo and is of that band. He connected to his daughter because of this band. Still, because his philosophy is criticizing the subject being covered makes you more believable, he had to write negative things about this band. And he loves this band, it's his favorite band in the world. But he had to criticize them. And that just tells me, in my opinion, like that just tells me that there's just no escape. Like BTS, like these journalists exist, and there are a lot of them. And sometimes some journalists genuinely hate BTS, like they are haters. You guys are right. Like sometimes, yes, they're haters. Sometimes they are not haters. Sometimes they just have to write something negative or diminishing just so they are credible, just so they are more respected between other journalists. Their article is more respected in journalism settings if they write at least a couple of negative things. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? Because sometimes I feel like some armies see these negative articles mentioning BTS or whatever, and they say, mm, well, this is just, let's see their Twitter account. Maybe they hate BTS. Sometimes they don't genuinely hate BTS. Sometimes they have to write something negative because, unfortunately, that's how journalism works a lot of the times. I've seen it, and it's never going to stop. Like even if someone likes BTS, if they have this philosophy, or if they are working in a publishing, if they're working in a magazine with this kind of philosophy, they would have to criticize them at least a couple of times. Negativity sells better. Yes, like I'm telling you, it's crazy because this journalist has such a deep connection with this band, but still, just so he can have an important article that people will applaud him for, he had to write negatively about them. And of course, he wrote the positive things. He wrote about the connection that he had with his daughter because of the band or whatever. He wrote all of these positive things, but he had to include a couple of negative things just so his credibility is bigger, just so he can have some credibility. But come on, if they wrote nice things about BTS, they would get lots of clicks too because armies would read it. Yes, it's true. But sometimes I feel like it should matter because it would make them more money. But some journalists have this very strong personality that they are not going to change. They would rather get fired before writing an all positive article or even a fair article. Like they have to be a little controversial, negative, diminishing, at least a little. This is just in the case of some people, not everyone. But yeah, I think they do this to keep their jobs or establish a reputation. I definitely think it's because they're trying to establish a reputation. Definitely. Has anyone ever been in a room full of journalists? It's a nightmare. Everyone has such a big ego and thinks they're the best, and they try to find something negative in every single thing. So yeah, rage bait sells. Yes. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Totally. I genuinely believe that. I'm just saying that I found this, like, I've explained the example that I've seen. Um, this journalist loves this man. They said that this man saved their lives and everything, but still, he's a journalist first, so he has to write negatively about them, even if he doesn't really believe it. Like I said, like I wrote here, even when you have to embellish it or fake it, the negative things. That's what I'm saying. Yes, what should we do? So that's my question, kind of. Um, so the media's attack on BTS continues, and in my opinion, for the reasons that I've just talked about, it will never stop. Um, but nobody can stop BTS because we as armies are here, and none of this has affected BTS because we don't let it affect BTS. This article by the Hollywood Reporter was very, very bad. But I remember when that happened, um, armies canceled their orders because a lot of people, of course, noticed that BTS was promoting for the Hollywood Reporter. Um, BTS was, all of these interviews were being published. Let me show you one because there are actually a couple that are very, very popular. What is it? BTS Hollywood Reporter interview. This one. Do you remember Fishing for Answers? Oops, I'm sorry. So this interview was released and it was very fun, and there were pictures and the pictures were beautiful or whatever, and a lot of armies um tried to buy the magazine and pre-order the magazine. Do you guys remember this interview? And it was very fun. So a lot of armies, of course, bought the magazine, pre-ordered the magazine. And then once the interview was released, I remember that a lot of people would share their screenshots of how they canceled their orders. Bow wow wow is all I remember. Yeah. That is a very fun interview though. And that's the other thing. I am the one, I am the type of people who believes that we should separate the actual article with everything else. So, for example, the person we can blame here is Seth Abramovich, the writer of the article. But I mean, the photographer and the editors and the people interviewing BTS, these are different people. And BTS is having a good time here, apparently. So I think it's different. But it's true that I'm not buying that article. I'm not buying that magazine. But I'm not going to go after the photographer because he did a good job with the pictures. Hollywood Reporter, the site doesn't have a say. They do have a say, but like I said, the Hollywood Reporter loves these kind of shady articles. Remember this article? Like, this is another article by another author, by another writer that has nothing to do with BTS's interview or anything, has nothing to do with Seth Abramovich. This is another person, but still, they are so negative because this is their philosophy. Like, it's kind of how they are, in my opinion. Yes, the magazine always has a say. And in my opinion, the magazine let all of this happen. I mean, they chose this Seth guy to interview BTS knowing of his past and how he was fired before. They still chose him. Do people even buy magazines anymore, and why are they relevant? It's not that magazines are relevant, it's that specifically when it comes to these specific special issues, armies buy it because BTS is on the cover, and sometimes armies want to um, collect these magazines. And sometimes, I don't know if it was Times Magazine. I think it was, I don't remember, Billboard. There are a couple of magazines that actually release a bunch of different covers. So there is one with Namjoon, and another with Jin, and another with Yoongi, and stuff like that. So they can sell as many as they can. Personally, I enjoy collecting stuff like that. I think it's okay. Like, it's fun. BTS likes doing these cover issues, so I support it. But in the case of this article, like, I was not going to support it, which is very unfortunate because BTS had a good video interview for their channel and everything. It was very fun. This interview was very fun, and the pictures are very good. But it's the actual article which makes it bad. Buying the magazines doesn't give money to BTS, right? Or does it? I don't really know how what is it? How the agreements work. I will have to look it up. But yeah, that's all I wanted to explain. What do we do now? So yeah, that is just something that I was thinking of because of everything that was happening about this, how they included BTS here in this article. But I just wanted to explain that, in my opinion, I feel like this will continue happening. And unfortunately, they found something that they can use to put BTS in a bad light, which is this incident, which is not a drink driving incident. Like, come on. I refuse to say it because he was not driving. He was not driving. They're grasping at straws. Exactly. So, yeah. What video are you making next? Um, I believe I'm trying to edit a video on what's it called? We talked about it last Friday about gatekeeping. So, about gatekeeping, because we need to do something when it comes to um promoting BTS, because Jacob said something and it is important. that as many armies get to know about it. So, yeah, basically, the conclusion for this entire thing is kind of sad because, in my opinion, this will never stop. I believe that it's bigger than a hatred for BTS, which, yes, some journalists do have hatred or a dislike for BTS, or they're just ignorant or whatever. It's true. But sometimes it's even bigger than that. Sometimes it's not exactly that. They sometimes it's not that journalists hate BTS. Sometimes journalists have to be a little negative, especially to the biggest band that is going to be included in every single thing related to K-pop and related to boy bands. Because BTS didn't have to be mentioned at the Jonas Brothers article, on the Jonas Brothers article. But they're going to because BTS are the biggest. So BTS will always be mentioned. BTS will always be in the middle, always, of everything. For me, it is competition industry because BTS has something everybody wants. Yes. What is the topic for Wednesday live stream? So the topic for Wednesday's live stream is something that I was going to do actually today, but then I realized that it wouldn't make sense because you wouldn't know about it. So I'm going to tell you right now. Um, so we are all in the same page. Chrissy said NSYNC's new album. So, anyways, BTS exactly. They will have to mention BTS either way, even when it's another group's story. Elaine, thank you so much. It says for Bora's merch fund. Thank you so much. Also, thank you for this analysis. I agree with you 100%. Feel better soon. Thank you. I'm feeling better and better every single day because if you guys don't know, I was sick last week. And on Friday, I was feeling a little better, but my voice was completely like, my voice was so, so bad. And now I still feel a little sick, but I'm mostly okay. But yeah, thank you so much, Elaine. Thank you, everyone, for the support, really. Well, they can be as competitive as they would like and criticize to their heart's content, but they still have to respect for the people they are speaking of. They still have to be professional. Yes, and that's the other thing that has really made me kind of fall out of love with journalism because sometimes I felt like I had like a good story, but no, I had to somehow include why would I care? Why would I care? And I have to mention someone else. I have to be a little bit of um diminishing towards something else, or I just don't like that. And it is very, very common. Okay, so Wednesday's live stream. Um we are going to rank covers by other artists of BTS songs. I think it's going to be fun. However, I didn't realize that if I did it today, you guys probably wouldn't know the actual cover that I'm talking about. So I created a playlist with every single video cover song that we are going to talk about on Wednesday. So you can watch it by yourself because on Wednesday I'm only going to show snippets because we cannot watch the entire thing. It would take too long and also copyright. It's horrible. So I made a list. I know that there are a lot more I know that there are a lot more other covers, but just to start with something, these are 14 that I found that were the most popular maybe. Yes, I may have missed a couple, but these are the ones that we're going to talk about on Friday. And also, very respectfully, this is just for fun. So, yeah, please watch this on your own if you want to participate. And also, if you already know them, some of them, you can just watch the ones that you didn't watch before. My favorite is still the metal cover of Fake Love. I really like that one as well. But these covers are like the most popular in terms of, yeah, of the performance and also the artists, because sometimes these artists are like the biggest ones who have covered BTS songs. And this video, this live stream is definitely inspired by 7 Days a Week by Gummy because I love I love that cover. It's kind of hilarious and iconic. So yes, I linked the link is, what's it called? Is pinned. And also I'm writing it on the description right now. So hopefully you can see it now on the description of this live stream. It's the link to the playlist. It's a unlisted playlist. So because I don't want it to be on my actual channel, you know? So it's an unlisted playlist. If you click the link, you can watch it, but it's not public. Wait, this is for Wednesday or Friday stream? This is for Wednesday. For Friday, we're doing the same that we always do. We talk about the concerts and what's happened with BTS for the past week with my sister. But for Mondays and Wednesdays, it's just one very specific topic. Today was about this entire inclusion of BTS for no reason. But on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about these covers. Will it stay after the stream? Yes. Can you guys see it on? I can see it on the description of this live stream. It's on the description box. Only famous making covers, or are you including covers by less famous artists? I'm including the most popular artists and also the most popular covers. It's only 14 because I couldn't include like every single one. There are hundreds, guys. Like the entire K-pop industry, I think they have covered BTS so many times. So I'm not including every single thing, but I'm including Lizzo, what is it? Lizzo's cover of Butter, Gummy's cover of Seven, and Hypen's cover of I Need You, Pentatonic's cover of Butter and Dynamite, then Stray Kids Dionysus, AT's On. These are only because of numbers, guys. So I'm not including or excluding anyone. I'm just including the numbers. And also, I'm including different songs because every single K-pop artist has performed Dynamite. Every single K-pop artist. So we're not going to talk about every single one of those. G Idol's Fake Love, Tomorrow by Together, Boy in Love, New Hope Glove's cover of Dynamite, this cover of Butter, Solar of Mamamoo's cover of Fire, Lee Hyun's cover of Spring Day, this other cover of Spring Day, and Sean Stockman from Boys to Men's cover of Serendipity. Javine Lorraine, thank you so much. Thank you for your work, Bora. I will go to Lollapalooza Berlin to meet Hobby for the first time in July. Very happy. Thanks again, Boraje. That's so awesome. I'm loving this. I'm loving this tour. We're going to talk about it on Friday with my sister because there are a lot of very fun clips from the Mexico concert. And I'm so excited to watch those with you guys as well because that cover was, I'm sorry, that concert was awesome. Kay asked, wait, is he performing at Lollapalooza again? Yes, he's headlining in Europe. He's headlining Lollapalooza Berlin. And actually, he's headlining Lollapalooza after BTS reunites. So I find it very interesting. We're going to talk about it on Friday because J-Hope kind of said something about BTS's preparation for their comeback. And I'm just so excited for that. But that's on Friday, though. We cannot talk about Friday stuff on Monday. I can't believe some people still don't know. Yeah, I mean, we need to prepare more. What's it called? We need to find a way of having every army know about their performances and stuff and their comebacks. He started chapter 2 with Lola and will end chapter 2 with Lola too. Too. That is true and that is so awesome. There is so much going on. It's hard to keep up. Yes, there is a lot going on. And can you imagine when the seven of them are back? Now it's just with Jin and J Hope. And even from the military, Namjoon and Taeyong are posting stuff, and Jin and Jungkook are appearing on live streams and by the phone or whatever. Like, it's crazy now. Can you imagine when they actually come back? Okay, so before I go, because that's all I have for today, do you guys think so? This is a video. If you guys haven't noticed, like these are screenshots of a video that I'm going to make. Do you think I should include anything else? So once again, going very, very fast. Um, I'm including the case of very, very basic stuff from the court ruling, just so we can have some context of why BTS was mentioned here. So I'm going to talk about this article. I'm going to talk about the practice of having different articles ready, different prepared answers, and how that can be a possibility, but we don't really know. Um, I'm going to talk about why BTS is mentioned, in my opinion, in this article, and why they are mentioned in many other articles by other artists, like I'm showing here. They have nothing to do with BTS, but somehow BTS has to be mentioned in the middle. BTS will always be in the middle, always. Um, I'm talking about these monetized covers, like they are selling magazine covers. And then I'm talking about the Hollywood Reporter article. What else should I include? Of course, I'm talking about the past of these journalists specifically. And then that's it. That's all I'm including. Should I include anything else? Do you have a conclusion on what army should do, or is this the one is informational only? I'm not sure. I don't really have a conclusion except this is going to continue, but nobody can stop BTS because they have us. So maybe this can be like um a reminder of why we are so protective of BTS. Maybe. What do you guys think? Because when I made, let me see. When I made that video about, where is it? This entire case, here, about the current smear campaign against BTS, I mentioned the case and the smear campaign against BTS, but there wasn't really like a conclusion about what we should do. It was more a conclusion of why this was happening. Now, I don't know what I can include in the conclusion. The solution is to not give it attention. Conclusion, don't give them clicks. If that was a thumbnail, I have to say it's pretty hectic. Yes, I don't know if you guys like this thumbnail. This one. Should I change anything? BTS is in the middle. Conclusion. Okay. It's fine as a thumbnail. Okay. Maybe without the other text. Well, it was kind of my point to make it seem like there's all of this happening outside of BTS and BTS is somehow in the middle. But I can make the other words, because there are a lot, like less purple. So they are like not as prominent. But now we got lives on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yes. But another reminder, as you can see here today, there's no countdown, there's no anything like that. And we're ending the live pretty early because, and we're starting the live pretty early. It's 4 p.m. ET. This is because Mondays and Wednesdays, these are just what I'm trying to make videos of. Like, mm, on Mondays and Wednesdays, we're only talking about one specific topic. But on Friday, I'm here with my sister and we talk about the entire week and what has happened with BTS. We watch clips, we look at different fun things and updates and stuff like that. So it's different. Like Friday is the real thing with my sister. But Mondays and Wednesdays, I just want to let you guys know what I'm working on, because my sister said that there are so many videos that if I don't make some kind of presentation right now, BTS is going to be back and I'm probably not going to make any video at all. You're not going to see these videos because it takes me so long to make the actual videos. So, for example, for this is technically the video, but I'm showing you just like I'm explaining it to you as I. This is not like an edited video. This is just a live of me explaining everything. You're getting feedback on your videos. Yes, exactly. So that's basically what I was trying to do, what I'm trying to do on Mondays and Wednesdays. Um, some of these presentations, because I have a lot, some of these presentations will be videos. And unfortunately, some of these will not be videos because I don't think I have time to edit every single one. But we'll see. Opacity. Yes, maybe I can turn off or the I can put the opacity lower of the other words because it is a little crazy, but I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you also say you will make a video about the shallow BTS Western interviews, especially radio hosts. Will you? Yes. I'm collecting clips, and actually, I can show the clips on a live stream on a Monday or Wednesday live stream, so we can see what to do with the video. Conclusion, we have to be more vocal and active showing our love to BTS. I like the thumbnail, Bora. Okay, that is a good idea. So if does anyone has any other idea for the conclusion? Because I can only think of the conclusion as this will keep happening. It's not necessarily because of hate by the journalists. It's part of journalism to include BTS. Then etiquette, please. Then etiquette next, please, before BTS gets back. Okay, we're going to talk about yes, because I do have a presentation of um it's called Baby Armies Are Outnumbering Us. Let's welcome them. And it's like a introduction, kind of helpful video for new armies, for baby armies, about how we work as a fandom and everything. So yes, like the fandom etiquette and everything. But remember, once again, one more time, on Wednesday, we're going to rank these covers of BTS songs, these 14 covers of BTS songs. I know there are more, but just for now, we're going to do these 14 because there are hundreds. We have to not be nice in a smart way to feed consequence to get those liar reporters wanting their 15 minutes to stop. Mm, conclusion. Army need to be discerning when articles magazines come out and not give negative clips in magazines. Wait, what is happening? I think I lost the. Where is it? Wait, guys, I lost you. Okay, okay, I'm back. Um, how did these magazines used to cover K-pop before BTS? I don't really know. I will have to look that up. What happened? What just happened is that I closed the live stream up and I didn't see anything. So I didn't know if I ended the stream and I was panicking. But no, I didn't end the stream. I just left the app, the YouTube app. But now I'm back. Conclusion, limit engagement and also be reasonable when an article has professional skepticism. This since this will always happen and when it has misinformation, hate, that's when you should be vocal. That is a good conclusion. Limit engagement and also be reasonable when an article has professional skepticism, since this will always happen. And when it has misinformation, hate, that's when we should be vocal. I love that. I'm going to include that. One. Okay, I love that one. Mm, will you create a Discord server? I don't really use Discord. I don't know how to use it. Conclusion, this will keep happening, but they are musicians and artists first, so listen to their music and read their lyrics to see if they are genuine or not. Media knows you have thousands of armies clicking on anything BTS, which is what we need to know. Mm, tough audience. Elaine, thank you so much. My opinion is that we need awareness. It's always better to be informed because knowledge helps us make good choices. That's why I love this channel. Thank you so much for your support. And I actually think that I will also include that because yes, like this is more about awareness because I don't really have like a message like what should we do? I think we should be aware. Not knowing this because sometimes armies I feel like baby armies or any army really are like it's not that big of a deal or we don't need to protect BTS. BTS are big enough. And it's like, yes. And sometimes, actually, I just thought of something. Because BTS is so big, actually, they are the targets. So that excuse of BTS is big enough, they don't need protection. No, actually, they need because they are the biggest. I think that is my conclusion, guys. I think that is it. Conclusion. Be alert about how journalist industry has malpracticed to write smarter articles on influential people given how big and relevant BTS is. Yes. You did it. Yes. This is usually the conversation that I have with my sister that she keeps talking about. Like I explain everything to her and then I'm like, maybe this, maybe this, maybe that. And with your help, this has been so much easier because I would be entire days thinking about oh, how can I write a conclusion? What should I say? Okay, so I'm going to say it once again and tell me if I should add anything or if you like it the way it is. Um, So this is the conclusion. Some armies, some new fans think that BTS doesn't need more support, that doing the extra step is doing too much because BTS are big enough. BTS are the biggest. They don't need our support. They don't need us to defend them. However, as we can see in these articles, it's because BTS are the biggest that they are the targets. And that's why we support them more than ever now. Especially when they come back, everyone's going to be talking about them. So, yes, they do need our support. That's my conclusion. And of course, that is just like off of the top of my head. I'm going to include um, two comments that I read because I really like those. So if any of you didn't like the conclusion, please tell me why what I should include instead. Kushi, thank you so much. Your channel is very comforting and such a safe space for me to connect with you all. I love that. Like that was the purpose of making the channel this entire time. Thank you so much for your support, really. And I'm really happy that you think of the channel of as a safe space. Can you include articles of professional criticism towards BTS as an example of contracts? That is an excellent idea. So, yes, I'm going to include it. Articles of professional criticism. That is great. Professional criticism. So, anyone else who didn't like my conclusion, what else should I include? They write articles mentioning BTS because most people have heard of them, but not enough to know anything else. It's easy to make anything believable when someone knows pretty much nothing. That is exactly my point. Like, you totally understood what I was trying to say. Like, that's exactly what I was trying to say because I have it here. Why is BTS being mentioned all the time? Because BTS is the bigger context, because BTS needs to be connected, because everyone knows BTS, but not necessarily these other groups. So they have to mention BTS. So the audience is like, oh, wait, I kind of know about this. BTS will always be the bigger context. If you're going to include the Hollywood Reporter article, it may be good to also include Namjoon's interview for El País, where he slams Westerners who don't understand K-pop in the industry. That is a good idea, but actually, I was going to make an entire video for that one thing. Should I include it here? Because I really like that one as well, that article. And that statement. I don't know if you guys know, Namjoon had an article, had an interview for El País. I think it's Spain. And the interviewer asked Namjoon, like, why, what is it? Why do South Koreans do so much? Why are they so hard on themselves? And Namjoon said, you just don't get it, right? He said something like, you just don't get it. We have been like oppressed for so many years. So of course we're going to work very hard. It was something like that. It was something very interesting. And I was thinking of making it its own video. If armies who read certain weird articles, they need to be more vocal on social media. It's how you get things done. Yes, it was something like that. And I was thinking of making it its own video about how these journalists and the world in general like puts BTS, and not just BTS but a lot of international artists, specifically Asian artists, in this place of they overwork themselves. But Namjoon thinks differently. He says, you don't even know, like, you don't even know what it's like to be in my position. So, of course, you would think that. Of course, you would think that I'm doing too much. I was thinking of making its own video. Colonizer. Yeah, he basically said that. Marie Antoinette, thank you so much. For the conclusion, I love it. Some people need to realize that Army has been BTS's most efficient promotion and protection almost since debut days. Yes. Because that's the other thing. I see some armies, and that's the worst part. I see some armies who say it was okay to defend BTS to that extent when they first started because they were powerless, but now they're the biggest group in the world. Like, we don't need to go that crazy with our support. Like, it's too much. Like, they're big enough. When being this big makes them a target once again, like they're always a target, and we need to protect them. So yeah. Both mention and do a bigger video. Okay, so I'm going to try to include it in a small section. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to see if it fits. And if it doesn't matter because I can make it its own video. Because this is more about like how this is a practice in journalism. And the other thing is more about colonizers, like Western journalists putting labels on a South Korean group. I think it's a little different because it's not just journalists, it's also about like the public, the general public, Orientalism. Yes. So I believe that that's another entire video. I didn't protect them because they were less powerful or lesser known, but because I love them and that hasn't changed in the past few years. Honestly, me too. Like, even I didn't know their struggles to that extent, but I would always support them. Um, because of their music and because I know they're good people. I remember Tablo talk about that too. That's interesting. I'm going to include it as well. Tablo. They being big doesn't diminish our support. They still human, and when they read our words of support, it helps their mental and emotional well-being. Yes, definitely. Love versus savior complex. That is a very good point. Because we're this is not like a savior kind of thing. Because honestly, I believe that the best thing to do when it comes to this is report it silently to hype and then ignore. Actually, I'm going to include that. I'm going to include the, what's it called? What did you just say? Savior complex. This is not a savior complex thing. This is about report to hype privately and ignore. Jeannie Kim, thank you so much. Love your vision and style. Thank you so, so much. I don't know what is happening that out of nowhere, a lot of you guys decided to leave a tip or donate. But thank you so, so much. I'm very, very grateful. Also, part of Orientalism. That is the entire topic of the other video, honestly. And now you guys are giving giving so many ideas that um probably I'm going to do it soon because I was not expecting to do the Namjoon article soon, but maybe I will because a lot of you are giving really great ideas. Mm, exactly, the savior complex just leads to an unhealthy obsession. Okay, so I'm going to include that. So I make a distinction that this is not just like a savior complex thing. Um, I'm going to include it. So that's good that you guys mentioned it. Mm, Disney, I don't really know what I could say about that, but I can think about it. I don't really have anything prepared about that, but I do have something prepared about Namjoon's article from El País. I do have something, so I can prepare something now. mm, yes, so about the savior complex, don't worry. Like, I'm going to make a very clear distinction about the savior complex because that's not what I'm trying to do. I would also say that armies treating the guys like they are still boys and let themselves be taken advantage of. Treat them like the grown men they are and support the seven adult men. That is also a great point because, like I've said many times now, sometimes yes, these nasty comments come from a place of hate for BTS, but sometimes it's part of journalism in general, which is horrible, but it is always going to be like that. And sometimes BTS are not the victims. The entire thing and every single person who is included like that are the victims. So um, it's important to make a distinction. It's like telling a topper they will top anyways. Like, no, they don't need to constantly study. Like, yeah, BTS is the biggest, but that doesn't mean you stop the efforts that is keeping them the biggest. Like, no, they need to constantly study. Like, yeah, BTS is the biggest, but that doesn't mean you stop the efforts that keep them the biggest. I think I understand the comment, your comment. Mm, Marie Antoinette, thank you so much again. Another thing is that sometimes it can be bigger than just us and BTS. It's about justice and not letting things slide. That's why put up such a fight. That's interesting. Thank you so much for your comment. Um yeah, I mean, yeah, it's bigger than just us and BTS. Actually, I'm going to include that because like I mentioned, um I've seen examples of other groups, other bands going through the same thing. We miss Namjoon. Okay, so that's all I have. What about things like people giving up supporting them by streaming their music videos? I feel like the YouTube thing is something very complicated to explain that I don't even know for sure what is happening with YouTube. I don't know what is happening there. Mm, Silently reporting is usually the best course of action since we don't want to be counterproductive and call engagement to the article. However, there are times we need to be vocal. Definitely. There are times when it's very obvious that there is um, racism. There's racism, xenophobia, and very disgusting, vile comments about BTS that we can publicly call out. But other times, depending on the situation, we can report it to Hive privately and just don't engage with the article. Emailing the publication's editors also works. Okay, that's another good point. Okay, so before I go, is there anything else about this that you want to add? How to report to Hive. I'm still new, but I want to help. Okay, so I'm going to include it in the video actually. I'm going to how to report to Hive. That's good to know. Okay, so I believe that's all. Um, I don't know what else I could include. I think that's all I'm including for now. Um, yes, so a lot of people are mentioning it. Blood, Sweat, and Tears is at 999 million right here. If you go to my channel, as you can see here, Veracity Magazine, go to the end and there's a playlist called BTS's music videos road to 1 billion. So I should take this one out, Butter. But these are all the videos that are closer to 1 billion and Dynamite, which is close to 2 billion. Blood, Sweat, and Tears is extremely close. We're 1 million away. So make sure to watch Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Because it's going to reach 1 billion, which is crazy. Another video with 1 billion views. Yes. So less than a million away from 1 billion. So that is all. Thank you so much, guys, for helping me with the video. And remember that if you want to know the what we are doing on Wednesday, we are going to talk about these covers of BTS songs. The link is in the description box of this live stream and also is pinned on the comment section. So please make sure to watch all of the videos that you haven't watched or watch all of it again because on Wednesday we're only going to watch snippets, not the entire thing. So if you're unfamiliar with it, I'm sorry, we're not watching the entire thing. You have to watch it by yourself if you want to vote and all of that. So that's what we're going to do on Wednesday. So yeah, thank you so much everyone and see you on Wednesday, 4 p.m. ET. And on Friday, 6 p.m. ET with my sister and all of the clips and fun stuff with about BTS. So yeah, thank you so much everyone and goodbye. Bye everyone.